prolactin actually are secreted during the night time. So hence we encourage breastfeeding during the night, especially between 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the morning. And it helps to suppresses ovulation, so this will delay the second pregnancy. So the goal of successful breastfeeding is to breastfeed early. So need to have immediate skin-to-skin contact with the baby right after the baby is born. So it's very important before delivery itself, you discuss with your obstetrician and your pediatrician that you like to breastfeed the baby so that it won't take the baby away from you for long, and they will straight away put it on the breast right after birth. And continue skin-to-skin contact as much as possible. And it's very amazing. The baby will actually look for the mother's nipple by themselves, alright, without any further help sometimes, and they will suckle and sleep. So need to ensure that the baby actually get a good latch. Right, during the first 1 or 2 days, the milk that's secreted is what we call colostrum. So colostrum, as you can see over here, is actually liquid gold color. This is the first milk, and it comes in a very small quantity only. So it's best to direct latch or hand express if you can't direct latch. It contains very high concentration of DHA, white cells, protein that help to build strength and an effective immune system. And it is the best milk to prevent severe jaundice and also low blood sugar. So how to ensure that the baby gets a good latch? As you can see over here in this picture, you can see that the mouth is actually open wide, alright, and the lips are curled out, and the chin of the baby can actually touch against the breast. And the best thing is that the mother doesn't feel any pain, so that will ensure that it's a good latch. And you can see the covering of the areola. Most of the covering over the lower part of the nipple is of the areola is actually covered. Okay. And baby's cheeks will be full and rounded, and it will show signs of sucking, then swallowing as well. So it's important to feed the baby before the baby gets hungry. So how do we know when the baby gets hungry? So there are a few cues. So what we want to catch is the early cues before the child goes into the late cues. So the early cues that I'm hungry is when the baby starts to stir, alright, starts to wake up, mouth opening, or they will turn and seek and root. That means they will try to go and look for the breast or the nipple, and they will want to suck as well. So mid-cues, they will tell you, I'm really hungry already. So it's when they stretch, when there's increasing physical movement, when there's hand to mouth. Okay. When the baby starts shouting and screaming, actually that's a very late cue already, which means that I'm really hungry, you need to feed me now. Alright, it's when they are crying, when they are very agitated, when they cry until the face turns like lobster red. Alright, so what we want to catch is early cues. It can't at least mid cues before turn into late cues, because once it's late cues and you breastfeed, the mother will be stressed out, the baby will also be stressed out. Alright, because when the baby suckle on the breast milk, it's not like bottle feeding. Once you suckle, there's a lot of milk. It will take a few 1 or 2 minutes before the milk actually starts to come out. Right. So within that 30 to 40 days, sometimes the mother will have experienced breast engorgement. This is when the breast milk production is actually much more already. So mother will feel fullness at the breast, signaling increasing amounts of milk being produced, and it can actually cause a lot of discomfort for most mothers. So what we will advise is that mother either take a shower or have a warm compression with rough massage to help to drain the breast milk, and feed as frequently as possible. Alright. After breastfeeding, if let's say the breast is still engorged and it's painful, can use cold wet towels to relieve the pain and also reduce the swelling. Alright. And the other very important thing is that breastfeeding should be unrestricted and should breastfeed as frequently as possible. A rough guide would be at least 2 to 3 hourly, 8 to 10 times per day, on demand, which means that even the baby after breastfeed for 1 hour, or 1 hour later the baby actually cries and asks for feed, you can actually breastfeed again. Don't have to wait until it's 2 hours or 3 hours later. Alright. So example will be at 8 AM, you allow the baby to breastfeed at breast A. Alright, maybe the right breast for 30 minutes. Then you also allow the baby to unlatch by itself, then suckle on breast B for 20 to 30 minutes. Whether the baby suckle or just for comfort feed, it doesn't matter, because it will still stimulate the brain to produce more breast milk. Then subsequently at 10 AM, you will switch to breast B to suckle fully first for 30 minutes. Then the child enlarges itself, then only switch to breast A, alright, for another 30 minutes. A good way to remember would be to tie a rubber band for the mother. So mother have a rubber band. So let's say she starts with right breast first, then after that the next one will be left breast, then she should switch the rubber band to another breast. Then it's easier for the mom. The mom doesn't have to remember, earlier on they switched breast already. Alright? So the night production of breast milk is highest, especially between 2 to 5 a.m., as just now I mentioned earlier, because of the increased prolactin production. Right. A lot of mothers will say, if I don't pump out, if I direct latch, how do I know whether my baby is getting enough milk? This is a very common question. So these are the signs that you can see. Baby is contented 1 hour post-feeding, which means that after breastfeeding, the child will actually sleep off by themselves, at least for 1 hour. And the baby will pass urine 5 times per day after day 4, and passes yellow stool 4 to 8 times per day. This is usually after day 4. Puts on weight about 20 grams per day after 10 days. Right? So the newborn's tummy sizes, if you were to look at day 1, it's actually very little. It's the size of a cherry only. So it's about 5 to 7 meals. It's actually enough for them. At day 3, it's about 1 ounce. At 1 week, it doubles up to about 2 ounces. Then at 1 month, it is about 5 ounces. Alright? So even in terms of, if let's say we were to measure baby's urine, so at day 1 it's just once, day 2 is twice, day 3 is 3 times, very easy to remember. Day 4 onwards is 4 times and above. Right? How about the poo-poo? The poo-poo color also will change as it goes along. So on day 1 it will be black meiconia, alright? And day 2 it will be dark green, day 3 it will be green and brown, day 4 onwards it will be yellow. And you can see that it's actually very explosive and seedy and quite watery as well. So sometimes baby poop right after every feed as well. So how do we increase the breast milk production? Breastfeed early, breastfeed as frequently as possible, and having a good latch day and night, unrestricted feeding. So if let's say mom want to express breast milk, so either they can use a single pump or a double pump. Alright, if they use a single pump, they will pump the right breast 7 minutes, left breast 7 minutes, and then stop and massage each breast for 1 minute, 1 minute, and then after that continue pumping each breast for another 7 minutes. So total for 30 minutes. Okay. If they're using double pump, then it saves up a lot of time, but total is still 30 minutes, but both breasts will get a stimulation for 14 minutes, and then stop, massage for 1 minute, 1 minute, then after that, pump for another 14 minutes. So total is still 30 minutes. Alright, about every 3 hourly. Alright, it's for working mother, mom going back to work, we will usually recommend that pump once a day at 7 a.m. in the morning, 1 month before starting work. So at the end of 1 month, they'll be able to store 30 packs of breast milk in their fridge already. Then when back at work, we will recommend to pump about at least every 3 hourly if possible, but sometimes not possible, at least every 4 hourly. Right? The recommended timing will be like 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 1 p.m. during the lunchtime, 5 p.m. after work, and at night we'll direct latch, but if can, the mom can also pump to store for the next day. So tips to increase breast milk production. So first and foremost, mom have to be relaxed, so sit comfortably, supported, and then drink warm water before pumping, and can massage breast for a while, and use double electric pump will be good. That will save up a lot of time, and make sure mother knows how to use the breast pump correctly. Okay? And look at baby's picture or video and think lovingly about him, and this will help to promote the prolactin and oxytocin, another hormone that helps with the production of milk. And eat light food and drinks, nuts, chocolate, Horlicks, Milo and fruits. Befriend and join a breastfeeding group. Alright, having a support group is actually very important, and this will keep the mother who is breastfeeding going as well. Right, storage of breast milk is very important to choose suitable container made of glass or plastic, free of BPA, and it's covered, labeled with date and time when the breast milk is being pumped. So if you store, if you keep it at room temperature, maximum number of hours will be 4 hours. If you keep it at fridge shelf, it will be 5 days. If a 2 doors fridge, it will be 3 months. Deep freezer will be about 6 months. Right, labeling of storage milk, one example would be here. This is May 2012, and then the time, or you can write down how many ounces. So usually we recommend that use the oldest milk first that's being pumped. Alright, which means that the first one to go in will be at the top, the first one that you use is at the bottom. Okay? So nutrition during lactation is actually well-balanced diet, no special diet. Make sure that mother take enough fluids to thirst, adequate protein and calories, and multivitamin supplement. So that will do. So breastfeeding is actually not easy. So there's a quote saying that the road to success comes through hard work, determination, and sacrifice. All right. Okay. Thank you. Any questions so far on breastfeeding?